Welcome to MSRO Classroom. This session focuses on the chapter We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together by Gordon Cook and Alan East. Please like, subscribe and share the video. We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together presents an autobiographical account of a perilous sea voyage undertaken by Gordon Cook, his wife Mary, and their children Jonathan and Suzanne. During their journey across the southern Indian Ocean, their ship, Wavewalker, is struck by a gigantic wave and badly damaged. Despite sustaining severe injuries, enduring continuous flooding, and facing powerful storms, the family and crew demonstrate remarkable resilience in their struggle for survival. The children exhibit exceptional courage and optimism throughout the crisis. Ultimately, after days marked by hardship and determination, the family reaches Ile Amsterdam safely. Let's begin with a detailed analysis of the chapter. In July 1976, Gordon Cook, his wife Mary, and their children Jonathan and Suzanne set out on a round-the-world voyage from Plymouth, England. Their goal was to recreate the famous sea journey made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. Gordon and Mary had dreamed of this adventure for many years. For 16 years, they spent their free time improving their sailing skills in British waters. Their ship Wavewalker was 23 meters long, weighed 30 tons, had a wooden hull, and was professionally built. They spent months preparing and testing the ship in rough weather conditions before beginning the voyage. The opening introduces the adventurous nature of the family, their careful preparation, and the seriousness of the expedition. The beginning of the chapter heightens the dramatic impact of the ship's later destruction, as readers recognize the extent of the family's careful planning. The first stage of the journey went smoothly. The family sailed down the west coast of Africa towards Cape Town. Before entering the dangerous southern Indian Ocean, they hired two experienced crewmen, Larry Vigil and Herb Siegler. The southern Indian Ocean is notorious for violent storms and hazardous waves. The decision to add experienced crew members was motivated by safety concerns and the need for additional support. Soon after leaving Cape Town, the ship encountered strong gales. For several weeks, powerful winds blew continuously. The waves rose to nearly 15 meters, almost as high as the ship's main mast. Although the weather was terrible, the family remained cheerful. On Christmas Day, they celebrated happily with a Christmas tree despite the stormy sea. On New Year's Day, the weather showed no signs of improvement. Instead of becoming calmer, the sea grew even more violent. This section is important, so please pay attention. On 2nd January, the sea became extremely dangerous. Huge waves rolled endlessly towards the ship. To slow down the boat, the crew dropped the storm jib, tied a heavy mooring rope across the stern, double-lashed loose items, practiced life raft drills, attached lifelines, and wore oilskins and life jackets. Everyone waited nervously for what might happen next. These preparations showed discipline, experience, and the presence of mind during emergencies. The crew understood that the storm could become deadly. In the evening, the wind suddenly stopped and the sky became dark. Gordon heard a roar and saw an enormous wave approaching the ship. The wave appeared almost vertical and much larger than all the others. A tremendous explosion-like sound followed as the wave crashed onto Wavewalker. Gordon's head smashed against the wheel. He was thrown overboard into the sea. This moment is the turning point of the chapter. Nature appears overwhelmingly powerful and destructive. While sinking underwater, Gordon believed he was going to die. He accepted death peacefully as he began losing consciousness. Suddenly, he surfaced again. He saw Wavewalker almost capsizing with his mast nearly horizontal. His lifeline pulled tight and he was thrown back onto the ship. The waves tossed him violently across the deck. He suffered cracked ribs, broken teeth, and severe bleeding injuries. Despite terrible pain, he regained control of the wheel. Gordon's near-death experience highlights Gordon's bravery, the closeness of death, and the extreme danger the family faced. It also reveals his determination to survive despite severe injuries. Mary came on deck screaming that the ship was sinking. Gordon went below deck and discovered terrible destruction. Broken window frames, smashed decks, flooded cabins, and water everywhere. The starboard side bulged inward. Broken timbers hung at strange angles. Clothes, toys, crockery, charts, and tins floated around the flooded cabins. Gordon checked on the children. Jonathan and Suzanne remained calm despite injuries. Suzanne had a swollen head, black eyes, and a deep cut on her arm. Gordon searched for canvas, screws, and a hammer. He covered the damaged sections of the ship to reduce flooding. The crew continuously pumped water out of the ship. Many important items were washed overboard. Luckily, Gordon remembered another electric pump beneath the chartroom floor. The pump worked successfully. This chaotic scene highlights teamwork, practical intelligence, courage, and survival skills. Throughout the freezing night, the crew pumped water, steered the ship, and sent mayday distress calls. No replies came because they were in a remote part of the Indian Ocean. Their isolation increased fear and tension. They realized they could depend only on themselves for survival. Let's study how children were coping with these unforeseen circumstances. Suzanne's head became badly swollen. She finally showed her parents the deep cut on her arm. When Gordon asked why she had not mentioned her injuries earlier, she replied, "I didn't want to worry you when you were trying to save us all." Suzanne's response shows her courage, maturity, and selflessness beyond her age. Later, she required 6 operations for a recurring blood clot. Gordon realized Wavewalker could not survive all the way to Australia. He checked the charts and identified 2 small islands nearby. One island, Ile Amsterdam, contained a French scientific base. The island became their only hope for survival in the vast ocean. Another violent storm approached. When Gordon visited the children, Jonathan asked, "Are we going to die?" Gordon tried to reassure him. Jonathan then said, "We aren't afraid of dying if we can all be together." Gordon's interaction with Jonathan gives the chapter its title and expresses the power of family unity and love. Moving on, Gordon decided to heave to protect the damaged side of the ship. He created an improvised sea anchor using heavy nylon rope and 2 22-liter paraffin barrels. Mary sat beside him, holding his hand while both believed death might be near. Still, they refused to surrender. This profound scene reflects resilience, determination, and the human will to survive. On 6th January, Gordon tried calculating their position using wind speed, currents, drift, and a spare compass. The main compass had already been lost. Suzanne approached him in pain and gave him a handmade card. The card expressed her love and hope for survival. Suzanne's courage emotionally strengthened her parents and renewed Gordon's determination. Gordon carefully recalculated the ship's direction. He adjusted for magnetic variation and ocean currents. He instructed Larry to steer a course of 185 degrees. Though uncertain inside, Gordon spoke confidently to encourage the crew. Here we see Gordon's leadership, his intelligence, courage under pressure, and responsibility. Exhausted and hopeless, Gordon fell asleep briefly. When he woke up, Jonathan and Suzanne excitedly informed him that they had found the island. Gordon rushed onto the deck and saw Ile Amsterdam ahead. The island appeared bleak, volcanic, and mostly barren. Yet to Gordon, It was the most beautiful island in the world. The island symbolizes survival, hope, and victory over fear and nature. The description also shows how human perception changes after suffering. The family anchored safely near the island. The next morning, all 28 inhabitants of the island welcomed them ashore. Gordon reflected with gratitude on Larry and Herb's optimism, Mary's courage, Suzanne's selflessness, and Jonathan's bravery. The ending celebrates family unity, teamwork, courage, optimism, and the triumph of the human spirit. Now let's move to important questions from the chapter. First, what lessons do we learn from such hazardous experiences when we are face to face with death? The chapter teaches several valuable lessons. First, courage and determination help human beings survive danger. Second, family unity and emotional support provide great strength during crisis. Third, optimism and hope prevent fear from destroying confidence. Fourth, presence of mind and practical thinking are essential in emergencies. Fifth, human beings discover their hidden inner strength when facing death directly. Sixth, love and togetherness become more important than material comforts during life-threatening situations. The story ultimately celebrates the victory of human courage, unity, and hope over fear and destruction. Next question: what difference did we notice between the reaction of the adults and the children when faced with danger? The adults reacted with fear, a sense of responsibility, and practical action. Gordon, Mary, Larry, and Herb focused on saving the ship. They repaired damage, pumped water, steered the ship, and sent distress calls. The children reacted with innocence, courage, and emotional calmness. Suzanne hid her pain because she did not want to bury her parents. Jonathan said he was not afraid of dying if the family stayed together. The contrast highlights the maturity and bravery of the children and the emotional burden carried by the adults. Moving on, how does the story suggest that optimism helps to endure the direst stress? The chapter shows that optimism gave the family emotional strength during the crisis. Larry and Herb remained cheerful and hopeful despite the danger. Mary stayed calm and continued helping Gordon. Suzanne created a loving card for her parents even while badly injured. Jonathan's fearless words inspired Gordon emotionally. Gordon himself kept searching for solutions and encouraged everyone despite his hidden fears. Optimism prevented despair from overpowering the family. Their hopeful attitude helped them survive mentally and physically during the worst moments. To summarize, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together is a powerful story of courage, survival, family unity, and teamwork. Through the terrifying storm and near-death experiences, Gordon Cook and his family display remarkable determination, presence of mind, and emotional strength. The children's bravery and optimism become a source of inspiration during the crisis. The chapter shows that hope, teamwork, and love help people overcome the greatest dangers. It also teaches that difficult experiences reveal the true strength of human character. Finally, the story celebrates the triumph of human spirit over fear, suffering, and the might of nature. We have finished explaining the Class 11 chapter, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. For more in-depth study, visit our reference website, MSROCLASSROOM.com, for exam-oriented summaries, literary devices, themes, character sketches, extra questions, and extract-based questions for Class 11. In the next session, we'll analyze Chapter 1 from Snapshots, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. If you enjoyed the content, ask questions, subscribe, like, and share the video. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Bye-bye.